This entire team has been lifted tonight by Odell Beckham. This is sick. Put this to music.
Welcome in, Rad League fans, Rad League competitors. We're back. We're back. We got another episode of the Power Rankings. We just finished week 9. I'm joined by Dame Dalla, manager of the Benchwarmers. Dame, how are you doing today?
I'm pretty good. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, anytime I see you're sporting the Najee Alabama jersey, your RB1, your keeper, new face of the franchise with the departure of Derrick Henry following the injury. Good rebound, though. You got some good pieces, still have a good team, but weird seeing the Benchwarmers without D. Henry as RB1.
Yeah, it's still tough when I look at my roster every day and seeing Henry there. It's still a little tough, but let's go. I think we got some big pieces of the deal there to help us get that Rad Bowl that we just fell short on the past 2 seasons.
Yeah, for those who don't know, Dame's been to Rad Bowl 2 years in a row, last 2 years, 2 L's in the Rad Bowl. I mean, might go back this year. 4th place team right now. Good points for, you never know. All right. So why don't we just jump in? Just give me your number 1 team. Who do you got as who's the team that scares you the most right now?
Right now, I think you got to ride with the jabronis still. Jab.
Me too.
He's still got the back-to-back running back between CMC and Nick Chubb there. He even 6-3 and surviving 5 weeks out with CMC. Like, that's pretty impressive if you ask me.
Yeah.
And Chubb has the game or 2 in there. And
Fournette too.
Yeah.
This guy's he's just a workhorse as well.
And that's not even including like guys like DeAndre Hopkins and AJ Clown, I like to call him, AJ Brown. But he's a playable player and he does his job. Debo was a steal in the draft, so he's my top team.
Pittman, and he's got Brady.
Pittman, yeah.
He's elite everywhere you need to be. Maybe not tight end, but the way I view it, if you're elite at one of quarterback and tight end, you can get by without the other. But he's got guys that are fine. I mean, running backs elite, wide receivers elite, and flex he's always got. Just when he's plugging in guys like Waddle, Adrian Peterson, or I don't know what. I guess Pittman is a flex guy for him. God damn. Yeah, Brady
really roster.
Yeah, I've got him number 1 as well. It's hard to go up against Jab right now. You got a big win against Jab last week. We'll see. I think Jab's going to come away with a bye, so might be good news for some people. Avoid them round 1 of the playoffs.
I agree. I see the Jab getting the bye.
Oh yeah. Well, so we both got Jab at 1. What are you saying at 2?
Number 2, now this is where it gets a little tricky for me. There's a few teams that you could put above them, but
I see four teams in this next tier after Jab that I think are all very similar.
I agree. There's a couple teams you could put there, but right now we just finished week 9, so these rankings could change next week depending on how some matchups go. But I'm going to give the greatest show on paper some respect. He's got the best record in the league. He's not going in there and scoring 130 to 40 points a week. Sometimes he's getting a nice solid 115. Sometimes he's getting the 90, but he's putting up enough points to win his week.
Wow. I am shocked, to say the least. No disrespect to the GSOP, but I've got full disrespect coming to GSOP later in this video. So I don't have him at number 2. I've got yourself at 2. I've got the Benchwarmers. I'm surprised. I mean, it's hard to put yourself so high in the rankings, but I mean, I think your team might, I don't want to say it's better without Derrick Henry, but as a roster, it looks full. now with Edmonds hurt, you got James Conner, who might be a top 15 running back, top 10 maybe. I don't even know. Him and Najee, boom, you're set at running back. Receivers, Cut, McLaurin, Williams, they can all go off. Two elite tight ends, Kelsey Andrews, one of them in the flex. That's still good. You got like Lockett, Landry, Kirk, Hilton, Sanders. Yeah, you got guys that are fine in the flex, good flex players. I think you're a little weak at quarterback with Aaron Rodgers, Kirk Cousins. But yeah, good team, strong team. This is a team that's going to, like, when I look at your team, I'm like, I got to put up 125 probably to beat you or something like that. Yeah, you got a lot of good players, but so yeah, you got GSOP at 2, eh? What it just about their past performance and their good record, or are you liking their roster right now as well?
The roster's not bad. Like it's not like the best roster overall in the league, but it's got guys like Amari Cooper, Austin Eckler. They get the job done. Matthew Stafford's in a good offense. They're just wrecked. Not the past week, but I'm talking over season. They've been good. Potentially, he could get back Chris Carson and CEH soon. That could be a big 2 guys to help him.
Yeah,
just getting it done, and who knows? A loss the next week or the week after, he could drop maybe a spot or 2 in the rankings. But I'll leave him at 2 for now.
Yeah, this is a team that scored 58 points last week, or am I? No, 58. I am correct.
Yeah, there has been some rough weeks in there.
Yeah,
I'm sure he probably even admit that, but it's hard to go against the 7-2 guy.
Fair play. So moving down to 3, who do you like?
I actually have myself at 3.
All right.
I didn't want to put myself 1 or 2, but I have myself at 3. Like, yeah, we lost our franchise running back there last week and the best Rad League player ever. But with him out, it was like trade him or not trade him.
Right.
Don't trade him. We're looking at probably playing Mike Davis as a running back too, and I did not like that one bit.
Yeah.
So it was just like I spent a lot of time looking at everybody's rosters and who could make a deal. And Dookie's looked like the best fit. He had no running back keeper for next year.
Mm-hmm.
And he was willing to part with some assets that could have made me a deeper team. And it avoided like players like Cole Beasley or Devin Singletary cracking a flex spot for me every week, where I feel more happy having like Tyler Lockett in there, or Jarvis Landry.
For sure. Yeah.
And I'm second in the league in points for. So if I ever end up tie breaking with a couple teams, I think as long as I have some good weeks to follow up on, I should be up there.
Yeah, you are second, and then we got a couple of good teams there. For me at number 3, I've got the team that just made the blockbuster deal. I've got the Jackrabbits. And before this deal, I might have had them a little lower. I've always respected the Jackrabbits team this year. I did get a W against them earlier. But they're a good team. Like, they've got ballers on their team, man. You just got rid of Mahomes, but you get Lamar. I mean, if it's fantasy football, it's like the next best thing. Maybe even better if the Chiefs are, I don't know, the Chiefs are chiefing this year. But I don't know why he's got the order of his players on his team right now, but man, his receivers, Metcalf, Antonio Brown, Keenan Allen, he's got Bateman. If OBJ goes somewhere good, I guess this can be good. Emmanuel Sanders being a stud. Still anchored by Kamara. That guy's always a threat. Just picked up Eli Mitchell, good running back. Kareem Hunt on IR too, like George Kittle, tight end. This is another team where running back, they hit you. Maybe they don't have that second like RB1 with like Hunt and Mitchell, but those are both good options. They got great receivers. DK Metcalf, Antonio Brown, Keenan Allen, Bateman, Sanders, elite at quarterback and tight end at those kind of bonus positions, I'll say. Lamar and Kittle, I mean, yeah, this is a good team. This is one of the best teams in the league, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
Mm-hmm. All right, so that's 3. So you went Jab, G-Saw, Benchwarmers. I went Jab, Benchwarmers, J-Dog. So we're on to 4. Who do you like here?
Okay, now that we've witnessed the blockbuster deal before we came on air here, I actually have the Jackrabbits at 4 now.
Did you move them up after this deal that happened?
I moved them up a couple spots.
Me too. I moved them up from 5 to 3 after they made this.
Moved them up from 6 to 4.
Okay. All right.
You basically nailed it there. Like it's a very deep team. Antonio Brown's out right now. He comes back and he just slots right into a spot. Really deep team. The other things to look into, it looks like the Jackrabbits have the easiest schedule the rest of the fantasy season too. And they also get to play Jab week 13 when there's no AJ Brown, no Chubb, and no CMC.
Wow.
So like I was looking at the schedules there, and the Jackrabbits have a nice schedule the rest of the way. Yeah. And their key pieces have already had a bye week.
That's like big.
Kamara's had bye.
Yeah.
Metcalf's bye. Antonio Brown's had bye. Keenan Allen's had bye. So he's got these guys locked and loaded every week unless someone goes down.
Yeah, right on. For my 4th team, I've got ALL. Same position I had myself in the last rankings. When I look at my team, I see the best player in fantasy. I'm not even joking. I think Jonathan Taylor is, with Henry gone, I think I would rather have him over CMC, Kamara, Chubb, Dalvin Cook, whatever, any of these other guys. I'm not taking any of them over Taylor the rest of the season. This guy's put up like 330 bombs in the last 1, 2, 3, 4. In the last 5 weeks, he's put up 330 bombs. He hasn't been below 15 points. I mean, last week my team put up 122, decent week, and pretty much no one was good other than 3 players on my team. But sometimes that's all it takes. And Mixon has shown that he's been a top 5 running back this year for fantasy. I mean, maybe some people won't think that'll continue, but ton of usage, electric offense. Him and Taylor are first in the league in touches inside the 5. I mean, that's what you look for in a fantasy running back. And these guys are putting up 50 points for me sometimes right off the bat. I mean, it's tough to compete with teams that do that, no matter how deep you are. But I think my team is a depth too. I love Herbert at QB. I think I've got 2 really good tight ends, Gesicki and Hawkinson, where I'm fine playing one of them in the flex as well if I have to. And then obviously I'm good with either one of them in the tight end slot. I think I've got a lot of receivers. Obviously, Devontae Adams. Maybe he's had a down year. He hasn't had the touchdown luck, but he's a top receiver in the league, and he's a receiver that can get 3 touchdowns for you in the playoffs. And I mean, yeah, him combined with Taylor are like that's one of my favorite keeper duos in the league. And then I've just got a ton of receivers that I think are good. T. Higgins, Robert Woods, Devontae Smith showed what he can do. Claypool is all right. He's injured right now, hit and miss. And then I've got the upside squad. I've got Tony Pollard and Calvin Ridley, who not much right now. I mean, Pollard's all right, but if Zeke were to go down, Pollard's another top 10 running back I got. If Calvin Ridley comes back, he could be top, 15 wide receivers. So I think my team's good enough to get in the playoffs, and I think I've got the big boys that can hopefully win a Rad Bowl.
Yep, and Jonathan Taylor, that guy's a beast. I'll give him some love.
Yeah, I mean, you're a resident Colts fan in the league, so you already know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even mention Zach Moss, too, heart and soul of the team. Oh, all kidding aside, though, he's just he's a decent flex option, decent running back two in a pinch. Yeah, I probably went on a big tangent there, but This is the best team I've ever had, and I like it. I like it for sure. All right, so we're at 5 now. We're at the midway point. What are you saying?
They have yourself at 5. ALL.
All right, you're the first one to respect ALL. Actually, Andy had some respect for ALL in the other video.
You got 3 guys that could go off anytime, like any week. Devontae Adams, Jonathan Taylor, Joe Mixon. You don't want to see those guys sometimes when you're in a matchup. Like they could put up 20 plus at any point in the match. And then there's guys like Robert Woods who are starting to get more involved, and T. Higgins,
Mr. Consistent.
Good, like you said, Hawkinson. Detroit's not very good, but they're passing a lot late in games, and he's the guy that gets a lot of the targets.
Mm-hmm.
And you're the only team in the league to actually put up 100 or more points every single week. So when you're playing the opponent, you got to know, okay, well, we're playing this team. You got to put up maybe 110 just to win.
Just have a chance, yeah. Yeah, all these squads are putting up 80, 50, 90 on the regular. Not over here. I don't really vibe with the whole sub-hundo thing. Yeah.
You're doubling their squads.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm the 5th place team at 5-4. You got me ranked number 5. That seems accurate. You're the 4th place team, 5-4 as well. A little more points for than me. I had you at number 2. That's just kind of how the league goes sometimes. For me at number 5, I have FIO. Figured out our past champs are, what were they, 1-5 to start the year?
Yep.
Now they are 4-5. They are surging right now. Made a lot of moves, parted with the face of franchise Stephon Diggs, got Jamar Chase. Another team, they've got the running backs that maybe they're not top 5 in Dalvin Cook and Darrell Henderson, but they're RB1s. They're RB1s. They can get 100 yards and a touchdown literally every week. And I mean, that's, if you can get that consistently, your team is in a really good spot. It's got Josh Allen, elite option at QB. Little weak at tight end, but I mean, Goddard, Hunter Henry, they're fine options. It's one of those positions where it's hard to find a Kelsey who, I mean, he's been a little underperforming this year, but it's hard to get that separation at the tight end position, so you can get by. It's got good receivers, Jamar Chase, Chris Godwin, a couple other guys, and then, you know, he's got 3 running backs in his flex right now. This is another team where, like, I think you got to be putting up 120 to beat them. Like, I don't see this team, even though they were under 100 last week, I don't see that happening again. This is another team that maybe doesn't have the 140, 150 massive upside. Well, you never know with Jamar Chase now, but yeah, this is a team where they're consistently going to be putting up numbers.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm, yeah. All right. 6. So we're past the, to me, this is where I guess I got another team in here, but the top grouping might be complete. We'll see. Who do you got at 6?
At 6, I have Figure It Out.
Okay.
They've made some big moves. I don't really see a weakness on the roster besides the tight end position. And like you said, Hunter Henry and Goddard, they can get the job done. They might not put up those tight end 1 numbers on the week, but if they put up 7, 8 points, you can get by when you have a Delvin Cook, Darrell Henderson, Chris Godwin, or guys like that, Deontay Johnson, Jamar Chase. Like, the team's pretty loaded, and everyone thought he was done at 1-5, but Figure It Out. He's won 3 titles in 6 years. He's never done. Never count the guy out.
Yeah, for sure. My 16, and you know this, I gotta correct myself. This is the last team in the top tier that I think. I got the Tinker Soldiers. So they've been a little down bad lately. They've consistently been under 100 points, but whatever. Maybe they had some bye week stuff going on, or guys just underperforming. They still have good players on their team. Dak Prescott, I still think, is a top option. Tyreek Hill, Stephon Diggs, right there, you're fine at wide receiver. I mean, Brandon Cooks, Cortland Sutton, those are guys that are fine. Wide receiver 3, flex. Running back is weak. That is what's holding the Tink back. Aaron Jones is no longer that. Is he a top 10 option? Probably, possibly, maybe not. And then Jacobs is good. He is a good RB2 for sure. Javonte Williams, young running back, fine in the flex right now. He's got a good ceiling as well. Maybe the Tink are a little weak in the flex. Good tight end with Waller. It's a good team. They're not my favorite team in the league. I definitely had higher opinions of them in the past, but they still got good enough players. They're 6-3. They'll probably be a playoff team. I'll give them some respect.
Good point.
Mm-hmm. So that was my 6 squad. I've yet to get to our first place team here. Number 7. What are you thinking?
And that's where I got the Tinker Soldiers. Like that,
You've got you've got a team, and I got them one lower, or vice versa. Similar though.
And this is where I got the Tinker Soldiers. Like they have some talent on that team and some scary options. Like again, you could be playing them, and Tyreek Hill could go get 200 receiving yards with 2 40-yard touchdowns, and it can change the whole week and the whole matchup. But since that Jamar Chase deal, he hasn't been able to put up 100 points, but he's winning. So it's hard to put a 6-3 team at 7. But if he ever drops a week where the Jackrabbits or figure it out, pull one off, like the Tinker Soldiers don't have the points for right now. So that's why I have them at 7. But they're not a team you want to sleep on by all means. Like they could easily turn it around, and it's just we want to see a little more from them down the street.
Yeah, for sure. My 7th place team, this might be a shock to some people. I had them ranked number 2 to start the year. I've got Eat My Grit. Possibly one of our contenders for most down bad at the moment. This team, they've had bad injuries. They've had some tough buys. They're still in tough buy situation right now. Maybe haven't managed their way through that. That's why they're 3-6 at the moment. But this team still has firepower. They still have Ezekiel Elliott, Saquon Barkley, David Montgomery, Michael Carter, who's looking like a good option, Mike Evans, Adam Thielen, Antonio Gibson too. Oh, I didn't even see this guy. Well, this guy isn't even that good anymore. Jalen Hurts, good option. I mean, it's another team where if they're fully healthy, I think they could be consistently putting up 100. I mean, he only has one week this year below 100, and it was like 97 or 98 or something like that. So yeah, haven't had too good of a season from EMG, but if this team is fully healthy, fully good to go, I think they could be a team that could cause some trouble. Yeah. All right. Now we're on to number 8. We're getting into scary hours with these teams.
Number 8, this is where I have EMG. It's just been like a tough, probably month and a half for them. Like you look at their team fully healthy, and they're really scary. Thing going for them now is they're starting to get healthy at the right time. If they can string together 2 or 3 in a row, they could be knocking on the door with my 7 and 6 seed for a playoff spot. Like Montgomery came back last night, looked fairly efficient.
Looked all right, yeah.
And I think his workload is just going to get more eased in as it goes along. And Zeke, Barkley, after this week, all three of those backs have finished their buys, no injuries. He's got them for the long haul, and that's not even including like a Mike Evans that could pop off, Adam Thielen that's money in the red zone most weeks, can catch that touchdown. Jalen Hurts has been pretty consistent for a quarterback. I think last week was the only week he didn't put over 20 points.
Yeah, I think the last 2 weeks actually.
2 weeks, okay.
Yeah, he's won 11, 16. Maybe this guy's going to crumble a little bit. But
okay, I thought
this guy is ranked 2 on the year, though, the second best player in fantasy.
But that's a team I wouldn't sleep on. Like even Kenny Golladay, people may laugh at him, but it might be a sneaky flex option late in the year. Like you know.
Yeah, we're at it's a team that it's a touchdown team to me, but even Pat Freiermuth with at tight end, the Muth is Luth.
Yeah, that was a good pick though.
He's coming on strong, yeah. So that was looking like a good addition. Number 8, this is where some people, maybe one person in particular, might take this as a little bit of disrespect. GSOP, greatest show on paper, our first place team, 7-2 record. I've got them at number 8 in the power rankings. I feel like every time I make this video, they're still in first, and I keep having to bump them down. Honestly, I should have just trusted my gut at the beginning and put them down here at first. I mean, I don't want to rip on this team. I mean, all respect, GSOP was an expansion team. They had never made the playoffs. They started the year undefeated. They're still in first, probably have playoffs locked up, but this is not a good roster in my opinion. I think that's proven in the points for. They're not even in the top 6, so they're not even a playoff team in the points for metric if you look at that. And aside from a couple players that I think are good, Austin Eckler, Damian Harris, Amari Cooper, Kyle Pitts, a lot of guys that I do not really love for fantasy football. Julio Jones, Mr. Kruk himself, Jacoby Myers, the king of 8 targets for 6 receptions and 32 yards. This guy hasn't had over 10 points all year. And he's just consistently being played week in and week out in this team. We just saw this team put up 58 points last week. Just a lot of guys that I don't think move the needle. I don't think have the stable floor at all. Corey Davis, Marvin Jones. Who else on this team? I mean, granted, Chris Carson and Clyde Edwards-Helaire are on IR. It's a risk they took holding these guys as a first place team. So maybe it'll pay off and they come back and he's got, 4 good starting running backs on his team. And I'm proven wrong. That could very well be the case. But like if I'm looking at who I want to get in the playoffs right now, GSOP might be at the top of my list. All right. 9. This is we just by process of elimination, we've got the same teams left here. I'm assuming you've got the vacuum cleaners at 9, and the Dukies at 10.
I got the vacuum cleaners at 9.
Yeah.
Reason I got them at 9, like it's just a better looking roster right now. Zach has a good roster, but it's just not working out. Like I don't know, a few injuries. It's just gone to shit a little bit. Like he's not putting up points. Like I think the last time he put over 100 points, like was week 4, I think against us. He put up like 130 or something. Ever since it's been like 90, 80, 60, 50. Yeah. Like he's been going through a tough.
Things have not been working out there. Yeah.
And it's actually last in the league in points for. Like the Dukies have more. So it's hard. The reason I put him 9 over the Dukies is he's 2 games up on him.
Yeah, and
got the better looking roster in the end. Like got some. Justin Jefferson was a steal where he drafted them, and DJ Moore seems to be like human again, not being a beast anymore. His running backs were lighting it up before, but I think it's starting to settle down a little bit. But James Robinson has been good for him this year, and so has DeAndre Swift. But there seems like the Lions are liking Jamal Williams with a big workload as well.
I mean, it's not like he's got. Excuse me, I feel like I'm gonna sneeze. He's got all right players. He's got Jefferson, Hollywood, 2 running backs, Kyler Murray, Judy. He's got a couple good players,
Good team.
but he can't have nice things though. It's just like maybe the vacuum cleaners just they just need a little more time to figure it out. They need another year. I mean, if I was a vacuum cleaners, I would have just, I don't know. It's been 3 years. They're still missing that RB1 elite option. I mean, you got to just figure it out. I mean, look at the Dukies. Granted, they were 1-6 or 1-7. They saw, Derrick Henry's out for the year. They realized this probably isn't our year, and they went and got that RB1, that top 5 option going into next year, because it is very hard to compete in this league, make the playoffs, and let alone win a championship if you don't have a couple top options at the most important position. And that's just something that the vacuum cleaners have been missing year in and year out. We always call them a PPR squad. It's because they got PPR running backs even. They got some good receivers, but receivers are volatile and you can kind of find them anywhere. It's harder to get Taylor, Derrick Henry, Dalvin Cook, CMC. It's hard to find those guys. Ezekiel Elliott.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I think there's like a few pieces there. He's got a nice looking team, but obviously it needs a little bit of work. And if you could ever find that RB1 keeper, like he's set with that RB1 keeper with, say, Jefferson.
There you go. I mean, maybe a little sell of the farm is going to be in order if he doesn't get a win in these next couple weeks and he's looking out of the playoff picture. Maybe he sells the farm and tries to go get I don't even know who we would be trying to get for next year, Zeke or Barkley or someone like that, maybe. Yeah. All right, and then we've got the Dukies at number 10. Hasn't been a good year. They beat you week 1 when you had a quarterback put up 2 points after Aaron Rodgers came back from having a little spiritual summer there in Hawaii. Then it's been 8 straight losses for the Dukies. They made a lot of big trades. I mean, the roster is kind of hot garbage right now. It is what it is, but they've got CeeDee Lamb and Derrick Henry going into next year as keepers. And from where they were a couple weeks ago with Antonio Gibson and Travis Kelce, they are in a great spot now, I think.
Absolutely. And that's when Henry went down. I was sitting 4th place at 4-4. So I'm right in the playoff mix, and just that opportunity was there. Mm-hmm. So we kind of worked out a deal there, build up my depth a little bit for this year.
Both of you.
Yeah.
That's it's been a common theme in the Rad League this year. A lot of teams have figured out how to create trades that are beneficial for both. We've kind of seen that pretty consistently. There hasn't been too many lopsided deals or just teams taking advantage of situations. Everyone's been able to kind of get theirs in these trades.
Yeah, and like the Dukies going into next year looking real good. Derrick Henry, CeeDee Lamb, which were our keepers going into this year.
Yeah,
kind of crazy. Both, but stuff happens, and I think he's in a good spot next year. And if he could land a top 3 pick next year in the draft and lands another RB1, RB2 to package with Henry, that's going to be a scary team.
Yeah,
we're looking at his roster now, and it could be a change of pace for next year. He could be a top team.
Yeah. All right, so we've ran through our top 10 here. I'll hit you with one final question. what teams do you think, maybe this is a dumb question because you're just going to pick the top 4 in your rankings, but who do you see are going to be the 4 teams left when we're in the semifinals in week 17?
Week 17.
Week 16, maybe.
Okay.
In the semifinals, we got 4 teams left battling it out. So yeah, that's week 16. Who do you think's going to be there? Maybe not who's just in your top 4 ranks right now. Who's got the team to top it out and make it?
I'm going to say I find a way to get back to the final 4. I'm in there. I'll throw Jab in there. And I'm going to throw Figure It Out in there. I think he's got a nice roster and could be very scary down the stretch.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll go with the Jackrabbits. Like, it's a pretty loaded roster after that deal. I wanted to put you in there, but a few of the flexes are questionable at times.
Yeah, fair play. I mean, sometimes flexes can be getting into scary hours. So
yeah,
do what you do. I mean, we'll see though. Yeah, it's still got a long second half of the year ahead of us. We've got, hopefully no one gets hit with the injury bug. Hopefully teams, make some more deals. Those are always exciting. We'll see. There's looking like the top tier is kind of forming in this league, the competitors, and then we've got those teams that are going to be fighting for a playoff spot. I mean, it's still wide open. I'm 5-4. You're 5-4. Jackrabbits 5-4. Figure It Out 4-5. There's going to be a good team that misses the playoff. Yeah, I've got 7 good teams at the top right now, 3 at the bottom. There's going to be a good team, and it might just be that they get a bad injury, but we'll see. It's do or die situations now.
Yeah, it'll be interesting, and hopefully it goes our way, and we'll see. There's a lot of good teams in this league. Like, I think it's our deepest year in this league.
Yeah, for sure. Most competitive season of the Rad League history so far. All right, well, we want to thank you for coming on. I want to thanks for having me. The content you've been giving us this year with these blockbuster deals. Sorry to see Derrick Henry go, but
that's okay. Impressive
to see how you've maneuvered it for sure.
If we can get a Red Bull ring, then it's all worth it in the end.
Yeah, right on. All right, thanks, brother.
No problem. Thank you.
Just killed a man.